This Blade Runner RPG is a game played by adults and contains content intended for a mature audience. The game addresses dark and difficult themes that may be uncomfortable or upsetting to some viewers, including, but not limited to, violence, strong language, loss of autonomy, and sexual content. All of the participants have discussed their zones of comfort at length and have safety tools at their disposal. Please use caution when viewing and be sure to take a break if you feel the need. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy the game.
Hi everybody, how you doing? Welcome. Some more Blade Runner action, where I, every 2 weeks, slowly but surely destroy the brains of my players because they're bad people and they deserve it. No, they're awesome people. They're great players, great people. I love them dearly. But thank you for joining us here at the Superior Adventurers Guild. Tonight we have part 6 of an 8-part campaign using Free League Publishing's brand new Blade Runner system. Yes, it's almost over, just 3 to go, which, means that it's going to start getting ugly, but, it's sad to think that it's almost over, but I'm going to see it in a positive light, like the glass is half full. You know me, Mr. Positivity. No? You're not buying it?
Oh, nice. You're really selling the positivity there, pal.
So the Blade Runner world is one that, like all good science fiction, really speaks to the world that we live in now. It takes place in the not too distant future of 2037, one where androids called Replicants have taken their place in society. They are not mechanical beings. They're made of flesh and bone and need to eat and sleep just like any human. The theme of what it means to be human is at the center of the book and the films and features prominently in this campaign. I have some truly wonderful players joining me at the table tonight, and in our discussions, we all agree we want to take a deep, dark dive to this world and explore things that may, perhaps, be a little uncomfortable at times, but everyone here clearly established comfort zones, and we have safety tools on hand to help guide us along. Make sure everyone's okay with what's going on in the game. For now, speaking of players, let us meet them. Let us interrogate them as if they were criminals, which they are.
Not convicted yet.
Perhaps not felonious criminals, but certainly criminals of the mind.
Criminal-minded, yeah.
Criminal-minded. Speaking criminal-minded. Creepshow, how you doing? As everyone waited to see where I was gonna.
Just up to crime shit in that guild gang.
Super villain.
Hi everybody, you know me, Charlie Creepshow. Just your resident creep on Twitch. Doing crime apparently. Fine, I guess. Don't tell my mom. Or do. I play TTRPGs like D&D and Blade Runner. And I also paint D&D miniatures. And tonight I am reprising my role as Phyllis Diedrichson, who's currently got a lot of secrets spilling out everywhere. So let's see where this goes tonight. I'm excited.
Phyllis is just like an onion. She has all these layers, and then when you sniff her, you cry.
Okay. I like it.
If you're going to be a vegetable, might as well be an onion.
Just don't cut her up.
No, don't.
As long as you're not asparagus. That's all I ask.
Speaking of cutting you back, person who keeps cutting me back every time I say something wrong, Hooli of Heroes and Hooligans. How you doing, Hooli?
Fuck you, Bleak.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I would generally tell everybody that I'm a facilitator of chaos over at Heroes and Hooligans, but today I will tell you I am a facilitator of Willy Wonka shenanigans.
Hell yeah. Tell us more.
Tell us more.
We may or may not be in the Guild Superior Lab cooking up some sweet Willy Wonka treats for Greyhawk. You'll have to come back and find out. Can't tell you anything else. But aside from that, I'm Sark. Possibly a traitor, possibly not. I don't even know when she's my character.
Possibly. I think you are.
You know what? Here's a fuck you, Dave, to start out the night too.
Jesus. Wow. All right.
Reform tonight.
Yep.
See, I told you. She's out there cutting people.
Except for Creep. Not fuck you, Creep. You're all right. I like you.
Aw.
Girl gang strong.
That's right. Thank you so much, Julie. I don't really want to know what goes into your candy, but I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure all of it's legal and really not addictive. Deepeco, will it make me see God?
I mean, you didn't ask for the special reserve. Anyways, don't we have to introduce Dave now or something?
Do we have to?
Everyone knows who Dave is. We could just move on to the game. Dave was on Twitch when there wasn't even any Twitch.
Look, I'm just the pretty face around here. We all know it.
That's right. Uncle Dave, how you doing?
Well, kids, I'm doing great. I'm really excited to be back. I love this game. I'm gonna try to say fewer F-bombs, although fuck that. And I'm really excited that I get to play this game with you guys again. I want to do more of this game. So the fact that things are getting revealed and getting to this crescendo is super exciting for me. I play tonight the veteran cop on the LAPD who is now sort of, I guess, kind of a leadership role for the Rep Detect unit, Thomas Twitch Flanagan. He is a little bit of a washed up but passionate cop who thinks that there was a time when he could do good things for the community, and now he's just trying to keep his team alive. There's a lot of things that happened in the last episode that have fractured his understanding of reality and what's happening with the team and the case. So go back and check that out if you haven't seen that episode. It was fantastic. A lot of tension. It was beautiful. His wife Nora has left him. He's got this sort of like sad cop thing, but he's doing the best he can. Okay, that's all he can do.
What else are you gonna ask a guy to do but the best that he can?
That's right.
Here's a RP warm-up question for you. What does Twitch smell like?
Old Spice.
Oh yeah, we did this one before.
Mm-hmm.
We forgot to do the warm-up question today. We were too busy
talking shit.
Yeah.
Talking about tooth halos.
Tooth halos. They grind you down. All right. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, Omar, who plays Fadir, will not be with us tonight. He's having some technical issues with his internet. He's probably on Bell, and Bell is the devil. So there you go. So he'll be at, I don't know, at HQ doing some paperwork or something tonight. And Omar, we miss you, buddy. We miss you. But we'll make do. We'll make do as we usually do. A couple of shout outs before we get going into this thing. CryoChamber, thank you very much for the awesome tunes that are filling our ear holes. Owlbear Rodeo for the VTT. Solution Maps Patreon for the fantastical maps, few of which you'll see again tonight. Thank you to Miko for helping me with some of the art they'll be showcasing tonight. He's got the magic touch that I don't have. Thank you also to Ashley and Andy, the rest of the production crew at Guild Superior. Thank you to all the awesome players and friends in our Discords and in our games and in our tweets and in Dave's house. And finally, a big thank you to you viewers for coming and seeing us on this little dark ride. We love you. As I said last week, I wanted to write a new one, but I forgot. I'll just repeat what I said last week. We love you like Deckard loves Rachel in a violent and not really appropriate way. I'll have to come up with a new one for next week. I'll do 2 next week. There you go. Mea culpa. Last game, man, a lot happened last game. A lot happened. You, Phyllis, were visited by a woman who looks exactly like you, who spoke very cryptic things about wondering if it was really you, that she'd seen you on TV during the explosion at the beginning of the game when you guys were on TV because you'd been blown up by some spicy noodles, and having been following you and trying to ascertain whether you were really you, and talking about Father and how Father was very merciful, and if you wanted to return, you could certainly do that instead of living here in this little hellhole that you've made a home for yourself in. This left you a little shook up, and so you decide to hop in your car to head to Twitch, because Twitch is the guy you bring all the problems to. Everyone brings all the problems to Twitch. It's there for that.
I'm
Meanwhile,
just trading one daddy for another daddy. It's fine.
one's just really powerful, has a lot of money, and tons of stuff, and the other one's smells nice. Like you make choices in life. You make choices in life. As far as Fadir goes, in the Homar side, he had traced up some events that had been happening to him at this motel out in the Sepulveda area. And when he'd gone in, after interrogating a local joy girl who said that she'd seen him and a couple other people come to this room for a few times over the past few months, had discovered that in the room there were listening and recording devices belonging to the LAPD. And so sort of confused by all that, not knowing what it all meant, and feeling a little bit unsure, had also jumped in his truck to head out to Uncle Twitch's place. Unfortunately, he never arrives, so we'll see what we do with that. And then finally, whilst Twitch was at a gun range, having a pointed discussion with Saul Grabowski, who was the head of the plainclothes and undercover unit for which Sark Ratcher used to work. Dave was interrogating using, of course, wit and his verbal skill. No, he was beating the guy with the butt of his gun. That's what he was doing. While Sark herself in the hospital with her lover Shay was discovering that, as opposed to being what she thought a police officer, she was in fact a undercover member of the Sons of Orc, the replicant terrorist organization who had been placed in the LAPD to create some issues, create some problems. But when you blew up at the beginning of the game, this had fried her memory, and the cops had realized she was an undercover agent, and so had reprogrammed her to use her to lure out the Sons of Orc. At the same time, Twitch, you were finding out that the real Sark Ratcher was dead, had been killed by the Sons of Orc, who had used the information they'd gotten from her in their torture to rebuild her identity in the body of a Nexus 9, a bunch of which you had found out had been stolen from a facility a little while back. And so as Sark was facing down this discovery, you were losing your shit and beating the hell out of Saul Grabowski and left in a huff. You arrive at your home just as Phyllis will arrive there. But before we get to that, let us perhaps revisit the hospital first and see how Sark is doing. So Sark, the three members of the Sons of Orc who had come to confront you, who call themselves Leons for reasons that perhaps still need to be made clear, had come and basically revealed to you that you were a sister of theirs, that you belonged to the group, and that they had been worried about you, looking for you. You weren't calling them, and they thought perhaps you'd been damaged or something in that explosion, and they were finally relieved to finally find you. Except to get to you, they had unfortunately used the technique of torturing your girlfriend in order to get you to sort of come out. Am I frozen? I appear to be frozen on the stream. Can you still hear me? That's weird. I'm on hardline before you. No, you can see that. And so these three have left. The friend, Ernie, that Twitch had put out front of the clinic to keep an eye on you, he's being tended to by a nurse as he was physically molested by these three Leons, and they're seeing to his wounds, and the cops have been called. They're on their way. You find yourself in the room, having sort of, mumbled your way through the last of the meeting with the Leons and sort of not really knowing what was going on, but I've given them enough, and they left basically saying they were happy to have found you, that everything was on. They basically tell you that there's something big happening very soon. They're going to need you, so they'll be back in touch shortly. Now that they know where to find you, they'll be back in touch shortly to let you know if they need information on what you can do to assist the cause. And I've left. You feel certain, fairly confident that you're still on their side. So as you sit there in the clinic with Shay, who is feeling very upset with herself, of course, because she couldn't resist the torture that they visited upon her and revealed, sort of where you could be found, is done crying. She's done her crying and, has kind of calmed down. They came in and gave her some drugs, to help with the pain. So you can see that she's soon going to sort of fade back into sleep. And she says, what are you going to do now? They're not gonna just let you go,
They don't have to let me go. I'm Sark fucking Ratcher. I always have been and I always will be. And I'm going to go and I'm going to find Twitch and I'm going to tell him and we're going to use it to our advantage because it's the smartest and only play we have at this point. So stay alive and I'll catch up with you later, kiddo.
And she grabs your hand just before you go and she goes, I'm really sorry. I tried to hold on as long as I could, but it was just too much. I understand if you can't trust me anymore, but I really tried.
Save your sorries. Get better. I'll catch you later.
So you walk outside. Ernie pushes the nurse away and he's like, hey, your girl's all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. You doing all right, Ernie?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I must be getting old and rusty. I don't know how they jumped me like that, but I apologize. I mean, I'm not much of a
Hey,
guard,
don't worry about it. You don't got to sit up here anymore. I got some cheddar in my pocket. Go get yourself something to eat, something to drink. Rest up, go home. I'll let Twitch know. Thanks for being up here. Appreciate you.
Look, I appreciate it, but I told Twitch I'd keep an eye on. I'm just gonna, catch my breath here, maybe get a coffee, and then I'll sit right here, and I can guarantee you that nobody else is gonna get through this place and get to your friend in there. Tell Twitch, I'm sorry I fucked up. I'll make it up to him.
Really, don't worry about it. She's fine.
All right. Well, I'll be here if ever you guys need to reach me for something.
I'll catch you later, bud. Now, toss my jacket over my shoulder and grab my bag and out the door.
Where are you gonna go?
Straight to Twitch's.
Straight to the Twitches.
I told him I wouldn't keep any secrets from him when we had a serious heart-to-heart. So I can't not go there.
All right. Speaking of Twitch, how and what is Twitch doing?
Twitch is at his apartment at this point, pacing, trying to replay the events from the day in his mind, the revelations about his partner, Sark, the possible disciplinary action that he might face from essentially beating one of his fellow cops. He's definitely drinking. He's got a glass of some sort of a scotch or a bourbon, and probably bourbon. And he's just pacing back and forth, smoking heaters, and he's probably shaking a little bit, talking to himself. He's probably got some music playing low.
as you're pacing and listening to your music and sort of going back over everything, one thing that I do want to remind you, I don't know if if it slipped through or whatever, maybe you do remember, but just to reiterate it, that Saul, when you were beating him, did say there was someone from internal affairs in somewhere in your office that was there to keep an eye on Sark.
Right. That had the implication of that was that that internal affairs person knew that Sark had been, quote unquote, sort of repurposed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As you're pacing and sort of going over everything in your mind, you hear in the kitchen that same humming that you're so fond of and that you remember so well, and the sound of plates and various dishes sort of being put away, and you can see the light on in the kitchen where you closed it earlier, and that little humming.
Just closing his eyes as hard as he can close them. He seems to be kind of catching on a little bit to something that's not right in his head, but Nora? Nora, baby. You there? He walks into the kitchen.
As you turn to go to the kitchen, there's a knock at the door.
What the fuck is going on? Just a minute.
Phyllis, you had been keeping an eye on Twitch, making sure that he was alone. You were outside, keeping an eye out. You can see the light go on in his living room, and through the blinds, you can see him pacing back and forth, and you wait for a little while, but he definitely seems to be alone.
I'll approach the door. Open it.
You see Phyllis standing there.
Yeah. Phyllis, come in. Come in.
Phyllis looks a little manic, a little bit distraught, not her usual cool self. And she kind of hurries in through the doorway when you offer her inside. And she says to you, "Close the door, Thomas. Lock it. Have you seen anyone? Has there been anyone around here? Anyone different? Maybe someone who looks like me?"
What? No. He'll look out in the hall before he closes the door just to see if there's anybody lurking. And then if he doesn't see anybody, he closes the door.
No, you don't notice anyone.
I ain't seen nobody. Phyllis, shit. And he goes over and he like clears probably some like clothes or his jacket or like just debris a little bit off of like a chair. Hey, have a seat. Have a seat. Can I get you a drink?
Of course. Something strong.
Yeah, that's all I got. He goes over and grabs a glass and pours her a glass of bourbon.
Instead of sitting, she kind of takes up his place of pacing.
You can take a look at what his apartment looks like if you are so inclined over at the map.
Oh, crap. I don't have... The one time I don't have Owlbear open.
It's all right.
There we go.
Phyllis, I'm confused. I ain't seen nobody but you tonight since I got home. What do you mean that looks like you? What's going on?
I don't know, Thomas. I think I'm in trouble, Thomas. Things from my past, they're starting to catch up to me, and don't know, I'm worried. I'm worried I might have got you wrapped up into this. And I mean, you saw what happened back there at Tomoe's. You know there's something different about me. You know that by talking to me, Thomas. I'm not like the others.
Look, Phyllis, I covered you for you back at when we were talking to Estelle, but I mean, I got to say, like, what I saw happen at Tomoe's place, I mean, it was terrifying, and I don't know anything about like where you came from before you were here. It's something that I wish that I would have looked into a little bit closer, not just with you, but there's something. There's a lot of secrets, even within a team, and I mean, everybody's got the history and the darkness, maybe, but we gotta be clear with each other where we stand and what we stand for. I still trust you. You saved my life, and well, some others, and I believe that to be true. If there's somebody out to get you, not that this means much after I saw what you did, but they're gonna have to go through me. They're gonna have to go through the rest of the team. I mean, we stand or we fall together.
She's going to approach Thomas and take the drink from his hands and look him in the eyes and say, "It's very sweet of you, Thomas, but what's coming for me, I don't think any of you could stop it. You saw what I did back there. Imagine a whole army of that. Now, I don't know if it is coming, but I had a visitor tonight. A woman. She's a lot like me. You could say she's exactly like me. She's from a life I used to live, a life I left, escaped. I don't know what's going through her mind right now, but there is a possibility that she could go back. She could go back and tell those who made me where I am and what I'm doing, and they're not going to be so happy about that. You see, I was a very important company asset. But just maybe there's a chance that, like me, she started to feel something. Maybe she won't go back and tell them. I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell from the way she talked to me, but maybe there's something inside of her, something a little bit like me. But I can tell you that all this talk of someone on the inside, someone in the department knowing a little more than they should know, well, they do, Thomas. They had to have when they looked at me, when they opened me up and they put me back together. They know that I'm not what I'm supposed to be, what I am on paper. Even if you would have looked me up before, you wouldn't have found anything. I made sure of that. I don't know who I can be honest with anymore other than you, Thomas, because I know you have my best interest at heart. I know you lied for me. And I appreciate that. And you can see, like, tears starting to well up in her eyes as she's speaking to you.
He reaches out and touches her arm as he notices the tears starting to fall. What you came from, whatever that past is, it's significant to what's happening to us. There's no doubt. But you're different, Phyllis. You've got something special. You've made a choice to do something different. To be your own master. He'll reach up and sort of wipe away one of the tears that's on your cheek. It's okay to feel scared. I'm scared.
I just don't know what to do, Thomas. Everything's just so... Before it was black and white, and it's not like that anymore. You know, when you're just a machine. You're programmed how to feel, how to think. I feel like a little kid.
Look, you're not just a machine. Look at you. You care. You make decisions with free will. I mean, we've all made our decisions, and I can see it in you. I care about you. Look, I'll do everything I can to keep you safe. I always have, Nora.
Nora.
He kind of steps away. Turns his back a little bit to you for a moment. He's kind of embarrassed a little bit. Sorry. Phyllis.
Thomas, who were you talking to before I knocked on the door? What'd you think you heard or saw? I'm sorry, I was watching outside. I just had to be careful, you know. I'm so on edge right now.
He turns back around to face you. Someone who ain't here no more. But you're here. We're here together, and we gotta take care of each other. Takes a step towards you. We gotta take care of each other. And he walks up and he brushes another tear from your eye. And he just kind of puts his hand around the side of your cheek and on the back of your neck and pulls you forward.
As you do that, you hear a knocking coming from the door.
Who's that? Were you expecting someone, Thomas?
No, stand over there. Just be ready for anything. Shit. A little uncomfortable.
Tosses the drink back and one gulp, just takes it and sets the glass down and kind of moves back into the shadows of the room.
Thomas walks over to the door. Who is it?
Just open up, boss. It's me.
It's Sock.
Let her in.
Opens the door.
I'm going to push the door shut very quick. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to lock it, and I'm going to go to your windows, and I'm going to pull your blinds closed very quickly as I look out them as I'm pulling up, making sure that nobody's out there or watching.
Someone following you?
Yes, they are. I was at the clinic, and I was talking to Shay, and these three big assholes, they came in, their names were Leon's. They roughed Ernie up a bit. He's okay. So they were like, sister, and I was just like, whoa, what's going on? Got him to leave. Shay said that, boss, I'm not me, or I am me. I'm always me. I don't know.
Hey.
And she'll like crumple on the couch.
He like puts his hand on your shoulder. Ratcha, Phyllis is here. Look, there's a lot of secrets here that for one reason or another have been kept from us, kept from each other's. Look, I talked to Saul.
talked. I know, Sock. Look, Phyllis, you need to hear this too. But Sock, I think you should be the one that tells it. From your words, from your mouth. This is it. I mean, God, I wish fucking Omar was here right now, because, look, we need to be straight with each other's. This is it. If we're going to survive this, if we're going to solve this case, which, to be honest with you, I'm more concerned with our safety at this point, but we need to know. So, look, Sock, I want you to tell us what you can. I'll try to fill in the rest from what I got from Saul.
All I know, really, Shay didn't say too much. I don't think she really knows everything either. She's pretty in bad shape. But I don't know, when they tortured me before, whenever I was undercover, they reprogrammed me and put me at the LAPD, and Spicy Boom Boom Noodles turned me back into Sark Ratcher 2.0.5 because the LAPD reprogrammed me again. So I'm just, I don't know, somebody's fucking plaything.
Yeah. You know, we've been talking about the possibility that there's someone on the inside feeding information. I mean, with what I found out from Saul's Sock, I mean, look, there's you were reprogrammed, right? You were designed to be a lure for the Sons of Orc. You had a connection. You worked with the Sons of Orc. It wasn't just that you were undercover. There's someone in IA that's keeping an eye on things. What does that mean, even? Is there anybody, Sock, that you've been talking to that could be the one that's providing all this information about every step of our investigation? Can you think of anything?
I haven't talked to anybody since we got, back from the accident. I've been with you guys filing reports, and then Shay, I mean, that's it. That's it.
Shay.
She
These
hasn't known
men.
any of our friends.
These men, you say, their names were Leon.
Yeah, apparently we're siblings in a roundabout manner.
You said all three of them went by this name.
All three.
Have any of you ever heard of a man named Roy Batty? That name ring a bell for you?
Yeah.
And his friend Leon. And this orc, Blake. I think there's a connection there. The man with the blonde hair.
Just like Roy Batty.
White hair.
White.
Just
Thanks,
like Roy
Blake.
Batty.
Yeah, just like him. You know, he was awake. That's why he did the things he did. Strange. They think that when you wake up, that your mental, it's not the same as your physical. What if Roy never did die out there? Maybe his body died. But what if Roy didn't? What if he is this Blake character just roaming the web, waiting to get let out.
Look, that's pretty heavy. I mean, all the reports were that Roy was destroyed. Is it possible, Sock, with the technology that the consciousness could be, I don't know, broadcast on that level?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It would be the same technology basically that they use to create memories for you, although it's illegal now to copy memories. They have to be made out of nothing. They have to be invented. But that's the technology that Nexus 6 used, which was to copy memories of existing people and putting them into replicant bodies. And that's outlawed, but the technology exists.
Look, Roy Batty woke up and did what he did, but it's not because he was awake that he did those things. I mean, he made the choice. He made the moral choice to do what he thought needed to be done. I mean, to have that choice, even for us humans, sometimes is forgotten.
What about this drug? This drug that helps the replicants speak to him.
You mean this? And he goes over and he pulls out this wooden box that he had nicked from Tomoe's shop. And he flips open the lid and just kind of sits down at the kitchen table and lights up a cigarette.
That. Why would we want to be giving that to a bunch of replicants so they could speak to Roy Batty?
Maybe it functions similar to the mycelium network. Maybe this drug is something technological that's allowing replicants to communicate while having that in their system, very similar to the way that a mitotoxin would take over, a tardigrade.
And why would we want to do that?
Well, we wouldn't want to, but think of somebody like Tomoe who's in a wheelchair and being able to possibly feel like they could move again.
I guess I'm thinking of it more of an emotional level. I'm not quite sure how our Athena friend factors into all this, but it just seems like someone in this orc business is trying to wake up a lot of replicants.
I'd honestly rather just be taking a nap with all of this nonsense going on. Just saying. Speaking of these orcs and Leons, they did say, and I quote, "Now that we know how to get a hold of you, we'll be in touch soon. There's something big going on and we may need you to play your part," end quote.
Do you know anything about that?
No, I don't.
Is it
Because as
possible?
far as I'm concerned, Sark Ratcher is Sark Ratcher. That middle reprogramming hiccup isn't who I am or ever was.
Is it possible, Sock, that even with the modifications that were given to you after the attack, that there's something still in there from before that we could wake up to perhaps use against this, I don't know, this movement.
Are you suggesting I get loaded, boss?
I'm just posing the question. I don't know.
Your KIA starts buzzing, Sark. Your communication device.
I'll check it.
It's called from the tech lab. Hey, Sark, it's Davidson, and you recognize the guy that was, being a dick to you as a replicant when you and Fadir went down. It's Davidson. I'm trying to reach Fadir, but he's not answering. Look, I don't know what to do with this. You put in a request for us to look deeper into the hacking of the cameras at the various murder sites that you were investigating. I put the request through, and the guys in the lab were working on it, but there was an administrative lockdown came down on it. Someone locked it up. We can't push further. You're going to need to talk to someone up the food chain to get it unlocked if you want us to get anything.
Do you have whose authorization codes are on the lockdown?
No, it's just a general code for brass upstairs. There's no one's actual fingerprints on it.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. If you talk to Fadir, tell him that I do enjoy watching his girlfriend on television.
You really calling to fuck around right now, Davidson?
Just saying.
You know
All right.
you wouldn't put one in your mouth if we were there. Click.
Sorry, making friends.
Fidia's not responding to calls, eh?
I think he had something he was going to take care of, but I haven't heard from him. No.
Shit. Twitch is gonna get up and go to the phone and try calling him.
The phone rings out, and then you get his answering machine.
Hang up right away. Should we be worried?
Well, he was asking for some security clearance for his girlfriend to get into the event. Maybe she's rewarding him, and that's why he's not answering.
All right, let me make a quick call. He's gonna call dispatch and just ask them to put out, not really an APB, but whatever would be the sort of analogous call for just keep an eye out.
Yeah, it would just be like, trace him down basically.
Track him down. Tell everybody to keep an eye out. Need to talk to him as soon as possible.
Yeah, no problem.
Where do we go from here?
Well, you should call Ernie and tell him he could go home. Shay doesn't need him up there. She's fine.
She's not under threat no more?
No.
All right.
She never really was. She was simply a postcard.
I think it's going to be safer for all of us to just maybe stay together. I got space here. I know it's not much. It's nothing like your place, Sock, but be safe here.
I would offer for everybody to stay in my place. I have much larger accommodations, but I don't necessarily think that's probably the most intelligent move, being as clearly postcards are now being delivered to my mailbox.
Yeah, agreed.
But Listen, I just got off the phone with Davidson, that prick down there at the tech lab. Somebody put a hold on our investigations into the security systems and their blackouts at all of the places. And it came from up top. General administrative blackout, no fingerprint. So you're asking who's giving out information, and I'm almost betting it's that same person locking us out from getting the information we're looking for.
Perhaps we should have a visit with the captain.
Yeah. Perhaps.
Unless anyone has a better idea.
You know, I'm curious about internal affairs. Sol told me that there was someone over there pulling some strings, keeping an eye on things.
The only people from internal affairs I've spoken to were Horowitz and Nine.
I don't think they would be wrapped up in this.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I think that's a little bit above their pencil pushing pay grade.
You want to do insight check? Any of you can, honestly. Well, maybe not Creep, because Phyllis doesn't know all the details about Sark's story, but definitely Sark and Twitch, you can make insight checks.
I've got a 10 and a 6.
10 and a 3.
Right. So the thing that kind of jumps out at you is if Sark's been reprogrammed to be part of the crew, why were Nine and Horowitz telling her there was a hit on her? Because there clearly wasn't a hit on her, since she's part of the Sons of Orc think she was part of the Sons of Orc. So why would they have done that whole rigmarole? I'm just saying that it's sus, and sort of shows they're not necessarily completely on the level.
Like I said, we should probably investigate Horowitz and what was her name?
Grace Nine.
Grace Nine.
Yeah.
Pay him a visit.
Well, the first thing you need to do is take a shift off, or everyone is going to get
Some stress.
A stress, because Twitch should be okay for one more shift, but the other two you'd be getting stressed at this point, since this was supposed to be your rest shift. So
Yeah.
I would certainly suggest that, I mean, unless you guys don't mind taking the stress, but your characters might want to think about getting, a few hours of rest and then moving on to whatever next thing you want to do.
I'm cool with taking an off shift rest here at the apartment. I don't know what the two of you think, but he'll get some blankets out and try to be as accommodating as he can.
Is it still considered resting if I'm reading case files and notes while laying on the couch with a blanket next to me?
I would say that's fine. Like,
Is it still considered resting if I'm drinking bourbon and watching TV?
For sure.
Is it still considered resting if I have a glass of bourbon in my hand and a cigarette with a super long ash as I'm sitting there snoring?
All right, fine.
Don't smoke in bed, people.
You'll pass out, or sort of camp out, take a bit of a rest. I don't know if anyone's got any lingering stress or physical wounds, perhaps from the other fight or something like that, but you can erase all of that. You also all have your regular advantage. So most of the day will sort of go by like this. At some point, while I'm guessing maybe Sark, you're while you guys are resting, Sark, if you're kind of going back and forth a little bit, trying to get some information online and things of that nature, you're reminded that the building tomorrow conference was going on, and you guys had talked about possibly going there to scope it out because it seemed like there was something going on or that was sort of involved in that thing. So you go online and start checking out if there's anything about it, and you come across a little interesting report that is from Narcissa Del Sur, your the woman who was covering your explosion there when it happened, and you guys don't know this, but the one that Fadir is shacking up with, who he got security clearance for. So she was there, and there's a report from her, a video that comes in showing, from her little drones, a bunch of images, and you see there's a pretty good crowd. There's all sorts of people there, and there are speakers and things like that. And she comes on and she says, the entire building tomorrow conference was in for two shocks today, as the enigmatic and reclusive founder and CEO of Dawnstar Biosynth, the very young and photogenic Aster Lambros, made her first documented appearance in public. As if the reveal of this cherubic-faced bioengineering genius wasn't enough, she also announced her company will soon be bringing to market a new type of android, one she claims is even more advanced than the N9, the Celsus Advanced Biosynthetic Individual, or CELSIN-1 for short. While Lambros provided scant information aside from one rather anemic electronic press kit, her impassioned speech about the importance of attempting to build a better tomorrow here on Earth rather than to give up on this place and focus on space and the outer colonies, and her intense charisma and intelligence marked all who saw her and sent the markets in a tizzy. As Peter Wayland, the head of Wayland-Yutani, who was attending via holographic projection, said, "As a woman of Greek heritage, I would think Miss Lambros would be well learned in the mythology of her people. After all, it was only when the Olympians rose and destroyed their forebears during the Titanomachy that they elevated themselves to godhood. Our salvation lies in space, among the stars. That is where we will be safe and will prosper, not down here in this dead world. Down here, we are akin to Prometheus, chained to this old world, being eaten little by little, day after day ad infinitum. We must reach to the stars and the secrets they hide." And this reporter, for one, agrees. As you well know, I've long been dubious about the decision to give replicants a greater part of freedom in our society. Machinery and tools should remain such. It's becoming clear now that with the actions of extremists like the Sons of Orc, who once again attacked a group of Rep Detect officers in a tattoo parlor in Chinatown last night, as well as set fire to a police spinner with 2 officers trapped inside in the Eastern District, that we may all be in greater danger than we've been led to believe. The time may come when it is necessary for each of us, humans, to be ready to defend ourselves against these machines. Meanwhile, as always, I bring you what no one else can. In spite of some of the tightest security this reporter has ever witnessed around a corporate officer not named Neander Wallace, I managed to snag a few images of Miss Lambros for you all. I did this with my little drones, of course, machines that serve a purpose and function well under control. For Opinion News, Narcissa Del Sur, on site and on the dot. And if you will look at the owlbear, you will see a video of a young woman who looks like this, along with her surroundings, several security officers, people you can assume would be lawyers and what have you else, sort of gathered around her. The drones are kind of flying in. Some people are pointing out the drones and people are reacting to it. And this camera is thinking, Miss Lambros looks up at the drones at some point and then turns around and gets into the vehicle And as she does, you notice the vehicle that she's getting in is a spinner that is green, white, and gold. Eventually, someone points a little machine at the drones and the image frizzles out, and then you see the TikTok tape at the bottom with Narcissa's name and details at 6 o'clock.
And we all saw that?
Well, Sark would have picked up on it when she saw the thing, and then I'm assuming would probably share, and you could replay it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'll be damned. Look at that.
That matches the description of the spinner in my case notes from Vitalis. And also, I think we just found our Athena.
I'd say so.
You, in fact, have seen the video, right?
Yeah, I've seen the video.
So yeah, it is the same spinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder Estelle's getting so much pressure from up top from the head shed up there at Wallace. They must be real concerned about things.
So real quick, Chris, the vibe I'm getting is this company is basically releasing a replicant that's going to be in direct competition with Wallace.
That's right.
Right. And I think I heard the verbiage that they want to keep the people here on Earth and not be looking to the stars, not be looking to move off world.
Yeah, she spoke about the importance of, fixing this place and sort of making it good again rather than taking off and leaving it behind.
Okay. Thank you.
And the other fella was, what was his name? Who spoke
Peter
about
Wayland?
Wayland.
Yeah,
That was Wayland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She basically put him on because he's saying, whatever she agrees with. So she is from Opinion News after all.
Well, I think I understand how Athena fits in all of this now. Perhaps you can humor me a moment. Why would you want to give a drug to a bunch of replicants to wake them up, other than to cause chaos and make somebody look bad? If she's trying to unveil some sort of new replicant, she's going to want Wallace to look as bad as possible. How else would you do that? By bringing back Tyrell's biggest mistake. Put a big old spotlight on him. Paint him as a savior and then watch the world burn around him. The question is who's meddling in the department? Has to be her. She doesn't want us catching on to her little game. Seems as though we're playing with fire. Any thoughts?
So many questions more than anything, but by tarnishing Wallace, I get it. Investors siphoned away, dividends increase for. God, I mean, it's destruction, though. It's chaos. I don't understand the end game other than greed.
makes the world go round. Money.
Yeah.
So now that you've rested a little bit, I've seen this and I've sort of taken this in. What would you like your next step to be on the new first shift of the day?
So, how about we go to the captain, as I suggested last night? I think it's time. I think we've seen what we need to see for now.
Agreed.
Let me ask you a question, boss, before we go bring this to the captain. You know her better than we do. Do you think it's above her head or on her shoulders?
What do I know about Estelle's propensity to bend under the pressure of, I don't know, like oligarchs and
So Estelle's always been extremely straight shooter, extremely, she was a street cop. She's been exactly that. She's never had the kind of pressure that she's had since she became captain. That's a whole nother thing. So, but she's always seemed to at least have been really like on the side of the officers doing the job. But definitely in the past few months, you can see that the stress is starting to take a toll on her. With the added pressure of her new position and the added pressure of this new department and all of that. So your first reaction is to say that she's really on the side of, the officers, but you've also started seeing that, there's a bit more pressure on her recently. So,
so out of character, are we confronting her or are we informing her?
That was my reason for asking you if you thought
Yeah.
it was above her head or on her shoulders,
Yeah.
because there's two entirely different approaches. We have Alita BattleBot in our party and would certainly get some things done if needed to, but we also have, sweet as pie, able to communicate with the boss sort of tactics as well. So that was really where I was wanting to know the approach to Estelle.
Well, I think the Twitch would argue that the approach would not be BattleBot style, just because we're the only ones who know this right now. And if we go in and we turn loose our enforcer,
I mean, if
we're gonna get taken down.
If you go and drop it in front of her and see what her reaction is, basically might be the.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. Is we kind of go in like, hey, we got a big break in the case. Sark lays it out for her logically, and like Sark does, and we're there to back it up and support it. We see how she reacts, and then I think that gives us a little insight on whether or not she, I think that answers your question.
You have enough information now to make Aster Lambros a person of interest in this case. So for sure, the next step would be to interview her, but whether or not, how that's going to go down with.
That's what we ask.
Her
We
power
ask for that
and all that, right?
Yeah.
But that would be the next step, because you have the connection with Porter, you have the connection with the libellule spinner.
Mm-hmm.
You have circumstantial evidence as far as the Greek background, ancestry in the name, and the information from Padilla that she was making a dress for someone high up.
I was just going to say, she's in the dress, right?
Yep.
And who was doing her first appearance, and so
it seems like enough to go on to get, what would it be, like a warrant to bring Landros in?
I don't know if you'd have a warrant, but it would definitely be like, call them and ask them to come down to the,
okay. So it's more of a professional request at this point. It's not like we're going to go make an arrest and haul them down to.
No, for sure. At this point, she's become a person of interest, and you would call the lawyers and you would say, we need her to come down, and then they're either going to say yes or no. And then at that point, if they say yes, they come down. If they say no, then the captain decides if you need more proof, or if now you can go to trying to get a warrant and going to arrest them.
I think that's exactly what we do then. That's my recommendation. If you're into it, we go in and we lay it out for y'all to play it out.
Sounds good to me. Let's do it.
All right. So you will head out, catch yourselves some spinners, and head on out to headquarters. When you arrive at headquarters, you it's like late afternoon sort of thing. It's like you got in kind of an early shift today. She's there for sure. So you get in there. You don't see Fadir anywhere. He's not kicking around anywhere. You will be able to get in and see the captain basically almost right away. As soon as you come in, the captain will be like, "The hell is this? I'm hearing about some sort of altercation at medical clinic. Sark, what's going on?"
I'm gonna shut the door behind us. I've got a stack of case files in my hand. The original 3 that we were handed from Padilla, Sol Youngjin, or some, I think that's her name, and then Vitali. I'm gonna have those, and then I also have an evidence folder that's got some pictures and other things that we've pulled from security cameras and all of that, including, you know, the stuff about the green and white spinner and all of that. And I'm going to put it all on the desk. And, well, the med clinic, that's for another day. But this case we've been working on, we have put together a lot of stuff. And I think we might have the information we've been looking for. And I'm going to spread it all out on her desk, kind of like you would see on like a cork board with the strings and stuff. And I'll put all the pictures out and make the connections and all of that.
So she'll listen to you go through all of that. So you have 3 murder victims. One, Sol Young-jin, who was a street doctor. One, Holly Padilla, who was a fashion designer. And one, Vitali Barada, who was a warehouse worker, but also a joy boy on the side. You have the connections that bring you to Dawnstar Biosynth, being the Lennox Porter connection. He was the one who was paying for the apartment that Vitali was living in. He was the one who got Vitali the job at the warehouse, and he was also the one who threatened Dutch Holland and got all the copies of Vitali's Sac Crystal recordings. And he's connected to Dawnstar Biosynth because he works for Oikos Financial, which is a subsidiary of Dawnstar Biosynth. You have the graph mats that were found at Sol Young-jin's place, which were stolen from Medstock Dispensary, which is a subdivision of Dawnstar Biosynth. You have information that Sol Young-jin was selling other bits of replicant parts to Porter, who is connected to Dawnstar Biosynth. You have both Holly Padilla and Lockhart referring to one of their clients who was a client of Vitali as Athena. You have the green, white, and gold libellule spinner, which landed on the rooftop of Vitali's apartment a few times, and they blocked off the entire floor and all of that. You also have the notes from Padilla about the dress she was making for someone, for Athena. Classical, think ancient Greece. She is the Oracle of Delphi. What would she wear to business, social, to impress, but not bedazzled? Colors green, white, and gold. Codename Athena. Codename Athena was one of the clients for Ovid Lockhart. Neurodyne, the place where he worked and makes the mood organs. Neurodyne, the warehouse where Vitali works, is a subsidiary also of Dawnstar. And I think that's all the ones that connect to that. And Vitali had a rich patron who was trying to get him on the straight and narrow and sort it out. I think that's all the information you have.
We are some blade running badasses, basically,
That's right.
is what you just laid out.
That's right. Blade running badasses. So you go through all of that. So it takes like half an hour to go through all these different things, show up all the information. And the more you look at it, the more the captain seems worried. She's looking at all of this, and you can tell that basically you just peed in her cornflakes.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, do you have any kind of idea what sort of shit sandwich this is?
Yeah, we do. And we wouldn't have come to you if we didn't have what we thought was a pretty tight line of evidence here.
God damn it. The commander and the mayor are gonna shit me out as so what's your next move? What do you want?
Asta Landros.
You want to drag Aster Lambros in?
You know me, Stella, I'm a little bit more tactful than that. Gentle hand. We'll ask her to come down and answer a few questions. Simple as that.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure she's going to come down. We'll ask. But second of all, if she does come down, you're not going in that interrogation room. There's no way they're going to let you do it. I mean, you can be in the viewing room and you can ask questions through whoever's going to be in there, but they're not going to let you, a couple of inspectors, just sit with someone like that.
You thinking you're going to do it?
I'm not going to do it. They're going to send someone.
Wow.
Well, someone they send is kind of important, Captain. Wouldn't you think?
Well, look, it's going to be out of our hands. I mean, pretty much this entire thing is going to be out of our hands because this is, I mean, we're going to have to move this entire thing up the chain.
That's not a good idea.
You've
It's
done some,
not an option.
That's not no, it's not a good idea and it's not an option. You were asking about the med clinic. You want to know about the med clinic? Let's talk about it because I'm sure you know things that you haven't been communicating with us.
But
How
what-
about the fact that the first Sark Ratcher doesn't exist? I was reprogrammed and now I'm here reprogrammed again. I'm sure you had to have known that. You wouldn't be sitting in your position if you weren't. There's somebody here leaking information to the Sons of Orc who are tied to the woman we are trying to
okay, whoa,
arrest
whoa,
for
whoa,
all
whoa.
of
What are you
murders.
talking about?
You want to move it up the chain.
Back it up. What are you talking about?
Twitch is going to put just his hand on Sark's shoulder. Just
Twitch, what the hell's going on?
look. There's been a lot of subterfuge and lies here, Estelle, and we're trying to get to the bottom of that. Look, if you know something about internal affairs and the connection here with Sark, then it's time to let us know. We're here to support you.
All I know about internal affairs and Sark is that they came here to talk to her because they were worried she was the target of the bombing that happened a month ago because of her former undercover work
Is she lying?
with the Replicant Underground. Do an insight check. Any of you can do an insight check if you want.
7 and a 5.
Six and a 7.
Blade
got a
running
10 and a 5.
badasses.
There's 2 advantages in the chat. Also, someone bought 2 advantages, so you guys can have 2 floating.
Oh,
Cool.
I saw that earlier. She doesn't seem to be lying.
GD
Like-
TRFB 1995. Thank you.
She seems to be pretty confused about what you're talking about. What you're getting is that she's trying not to let on either way, because like she knows if this is true that, you know, she's still, she's gonna have to find out, and maybe she might be called upon to cover. So, but anyways, right now she seems to honestly not know what you're talking about.
Still, what's your read on how Wallace, the head shed up at Wallace Corp, is gonna respond to this? If we do
I know the
move
market's
forward
so
with
crazy today.
asking Landros to come in, I mean,
I don't know. I have to assume that his people knew this was coming. I mean, it was kind of a bomb that dropped this morning, but his people surely must have known. I haven't heard anything yet, but I'm assuming he's going to take some personal interest sooner rather than later. I mean, right now he's probably dealing with the markets that went crazy this morning when she made her announcement. That's not going to last.
Let's use that to our advantage. There's no reason that we need to involve Wallace Corp or the media at all. Let's do this quiet. Let's bring in Landros. Let's ask us some questions.
We can, but my problem is right now that Aster Lambros didn't go around killing replicants. You still have 3 dead replicants.
That's right.
And you don't have a murderer.
You
have someone who's tangentially tied to this, apparently.
Exactly, and that's our cover for this. We're just looking for some additional information.
You really think Aster Lambros is behind this, or knows who's behind this, or is going to lead you to?
I think she's behind it. Captain, can you answer me a question? Do you know of any corporate ties to the department? Anyone who maybe funds the department? Perhaps Wallace?
Well,
perhaps Bio?
This place was built by Neander Wallace. The headquarters that you're in right now was built by Neander Wallace.
That's why we keep this quiet. We're just looking for information.
Well, somewhere in here, someone knows something. And they keep giving us little bits of bait and then taking it away. So it's either Wallace or it's Astra. But it's one of them. You tell us why our tech research got shut down recently while we were trying to crack the videos and figure out who may have been tinkering around with those.
What tech research?
Videos from the apartments.
Yeah, Fadir and I took some videos down to the tech lab because they had been edited. We had figured out they had been edited. And we wanted to see where the edit came from, and they were working on that. And I got a call from Davidson that said that somebody from the top shut it down, and I asked who did it, and they said it was a general administrative shutdown, no fingerprint.
Do you have the code for your request?
Yeah, I'll give it to her.
She pulls up her computer, punches it in, reads through it. Without even insight, you can tell that she's a little like, oh, what the fuck now? When,
I'll drop her another bomb and tell her that the guy in the parole department has been selling the footage from the Replicants recording, and clearly there are dirty cops in the station, using that as sort of a leg to stand on why we can't move it up the fucking chain, Estelle.
You know the old saying, put a cop alone in the room and at least half of them are dirty. All right, look, I don't know anything about this guy selling. If you think that's prosecutable, we'll certainly bring it up. I'm looking at your thing here. I don't know who put the lockdown on it, but I think, God damn it.
Take a breath, Estelle.
All right, she looks like she's making a decision. She says, I'm going to tell you something you're not really clear to know, so if ever anyone asks, I'll deny. up and down that it was ever me that told you about it. This was locked under Veil Protocol. There's a system we have in place. It's called Veil Protocol. It allows police officers who know about it to disable security systems and security cameras in the vicinity. SWAT have it, undercover cops have it. Usually these people have some sort of symbol that's etched under their skin in infrared ink. And when you flash it at a camera, it jams the security system for a short while. Apparently that's how your security systems and your cameras were messed with on your 3 murders.
When those systems are disabled, it comes up as some sort of an administrative action in the records?
No, not necessarily. There's no records of it per se, but whoever was investigating your hacking realized that this was what was going on.
Yeah. Didn't
Same code was used all 3 times. That code belongs to Sark Ratcher.
That's not possible. Sock?
Well, think about it. There was that like minor hiccup in the reprogramming, and the noodles happened after the murders, right? In between. Unless they've copied it, maybe.
We saw something like this happen with the Vitali footage, didn't we?
The camera at Vitali's, the cameras were functioning until the killer came into view. You saw his back, then he turned around and you saw the camera, and then when he turned to start working back, the feed shut down.
I wonder if it's something that they took from my original body when they reprogrammed me to be their implant before I was reprogrammed to be my own implant. I don't even know who or what's implant I am, but some fucking buddies. But maybe that's something that they had done, they had taken from me beforehand.
They might have gotten the infrared code from under the original, she hesitates for a moment, Sark Ratcher body.
Where's this code located at on the body?
Depends. Oftentimes it's placed inside the hand so that by just waving a hand at a camera or something, it will dismantle it. But really, it could be placed anywhere on the body that's not covered by hair.
All right, out of character question. Do we know where Sark was on the night of the murder of Vitali? Have we ever asked that question?
She was with you.
On the night that Vitali was killed?
Yeah, because you guys got called to the murder of Vitali as your first action when you came back from...
Mm-hmm.
Actually, she wasn't with you, but she was still convalescing, and she showed up at the same time as everybody else to the first shift, and then you were assigned that murder.
And wasn't the voice on the recording at Padilla's a man's voice?
Yeah, it was the killer's voice.
Yeah.
Do I get the sense that so Twitch is now like really fucked in the head? Does he get the sense, and so is Dave, by the way, but does Twitch get the sense that that Sark is scrambling, trying to cover up anything at this point that they know?
I would say no. I mean, you can make a
Okay.
roll, but
No, I don't. It's fine.
he seems to be as fucked in the head as you are.
Yeah.
So, just to clarify something, right? I know Sark's going on about Sark's kind of muddying the water a little bit, and I'm not sure if it's just because I wasn't very clear when I spoke to Huli about what happened to her character, if it's Sark just trying to, kind of keep control of her identity. But there was a Sark Ratcher. That Sark Ratcher was killed while undercover with the Sons of Orc. That body was never recovered, right? The body that Huli's character is in now was a brand new Nexus 9 that was part of a group that had been stolen off a shipment. And then after they tortured the original Sark Ratcher, they got enough out of her to create a memory chip, and they put that in that new body, right? And obviously altered it physically to look, at least to a certain degree, like the original Sark Ratcher, and then sent her in. So just to be clear, Huli, when we started the game, the first game, when you were at the noodle thing, your character was still very much cognizant of the fact that she was a Sons of Orc infiltrator. I didn't tell you at that time because your character was going to forget, and I thought it would be better for you not to have known, because your character, once the explosion happened and they went in to repair you, they saw that there was all that other programming that had been done. So they removed that and they replaced it with the programming that you have now, which is Sark Ratcher's memories, but without the whole being part of Sons of Orc. And they said they created memories of rescuing you from the torture and then everything else that you remembered after. So honestly, what you're very probably thinking is the original Sark Ratcher probably had this as an undercover officer, probably had this code, and when they killed her, they probably found it on her body and then have been using that. And that it's not connected in any way, shape, or form to the Sark Ratcher that's sitting next to you now. So that code could have been put anywhere on someone's skin, right? And as soon as it's flashed at the cameras go berserk. So what you can do is you can give me, all of you, since you're all sitting there thinking about it, and after this we'll go on break. But you can go ahead and give me an observation check. So your intelligence plus observation.
I got a 6 and a 1.
9 and a 5.
I got a 6 and an 8.
All right, so very good. All of you together pretty much at the same time. The camera goes off at Vitaly's once his back comes into view. The back is where he has that serpent design that was done by Tomoe sometime before he started doing the murders. And so it would be possible that this code would be hidden in this design. And as soon as the camera comes on his back, which is why there's just a second of him being seen.
Clever. Very clever.
All right. I think we need to take a break. We're going to take a break right now, quickly.
Oh, my God.
Let people reconnect, rebuild their brains with the Lego bits. We'll be back in a few minutes. Please don't go away. There's more to come, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Welcome back, everyone. Super happy that you stuck around to see where this madness is going. I'm sorry, I'm distracted as I'm just trying to organize what's about to happen here. So before the break, yes, Dave? Do you have something to tell me? No, thanks. So my friend Dave, who's not really my friend, is distracting me. Hi, hope everyone's doing all right. Hope you had a good break. We had a good break, and we are ready to get back into this. So before the break, the characters were laying out to the captain everything they found out, and they've discovered that this woman named Aster Lambros, who's the head of the Dawnstar Biosynth company, who has just revealed that they're about to unleash on the market next year a brand new type of replicant that's superior to the Nexus 9, is a person of interest in their murder inquiry. So after convincing their captain that, this needed to happen, the captain has contacted the people she needed to contact, and when they contacted Aster Lambros to ask her to come and talk, she agreed as long as she could bring, of course, her lawyers and whatnot. So the LAPD has sent a special investigator to handle the interrogation because Aster Lambros is such a high-ranking member of the corporate world. They can't have, filthy little investigators just sort of talking to her and breathing the same air as her. So our friends, Phyllis, Twitch, and Sark, the artist formerly known as Sark Ratcher, are in a viewing room from which they can observe the interrogation and feed questions to the people at hand. And, darn it, I didn't make my token for... So I'll just use this.
Who's who in this room here?
Talked about that in a second. So in your room here, there's Phyllis up here, and then you, and then Sark, and then just like a computer technician guy who's handling all the communications and sort of everything else. This is the upper floor of your detective's office at the headquarters. As you can see, there are other cops hanging around. Aster Lambros eventually arrives, landing in her green, yellow, and white libellule that you have become quite familiar with. She brings with her quite a retinue of people, in fact, including, when she arrives, she arrives with a couple of bodyguards, tech security specialist, a media relations agent, 2 lawyers, and then 3 other specialists, a bioengineer, a corporate VP, and a financial manager. All, of course, who are there to make sure that the answers that she gives, are in line with company policy, even though it's her company. Aster herself, when she walks into the office, is very young, seems very young, but also kind of very innocent and naive in some way. Like she's, she looks like someone who's not very worldly, who hasn't experienced the world a lot around her, and so on and so forth. Her people are buzzing around her like just bees, just like no one really gets to get close to her. They all sort of sweeping together. The cops have people who are not necessary have been cleared from the floor. They come in straight from the rooftop landing pad through the brass elevator, and they sweep in. And as they come in, I know I'm not going to put a million tokens on the board, but she's got all these people with her. And they're met at the entrance by a couple of special investigators, as well as your captain, and a few other lawyers and stuff like that. So you can tell that the situation is very touchy. Aster Lambros willingly came down. She didn't make a huge fuss about it. But you can tell that everyone's really kind of on edge and really kind of nervous about all of this. And as they sweep in, you guys are in that computer room, and you can watch them because there are windows in the room that you're in. So as they sweep in, you can sort of see them through the windows.
Let me ask you a question about these bodyguards really quick.
Yeah.
I see on the map they look the same. Are they
Yeah, they don't look
Leons?
the same. It's just because I just took that to signify bodyguard.
Okay.
They're
Just checking if they were
no, it's
Leons
just-
or not.
No, not at all. It's just
Okay.
random corporate bodyguard. As they come in, Phyllis, someone in the retinue catches your eye. As you see,
Great.
Mhm.
I'm not sweating at all. Don't worry. Fine.
This man, whom you recognize as Aiden Swain,
Okay.
you now know where he went to work after your meeting. But he comes in and he's part of our group. He's the bioengineering specialist. That's part of the retinue. Does Phyllis have any sort of reaction to seeing him, or she played cool like a cucumber?
She's cool.
She's cool.
Yeah, she's. Sorry, I rolled a dice for that.
All right. Well, you can make an empathy manipulation check, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
See how cool she is.
A 9 and a 10.
So that's pretty good. It's 3 successes. So I'm going to say that you're cool enough that the others don't even pick up that, you're playing it cool. But so they will all swing into this room. And the interrogation will commence. So they start with sort of usual basic chit chat, so on and so forth. What are some questions that you like to ask? So feel free to sort of act it out like you would be in the room, just ask the questions. And because you're feeding indirectly to the ear of the investigators. They may ignore some of your questions, but they may also ask some of them. So what are things that you would like them to ask about?
Yeah, ask about the relationship between Landros and Vitali.
Also between Padilla and Landros for the dress.
So every time there's a question, they all kind of huddle together and the lawyers are there and, everyone's kind of working on some stuff. From the cameras that are in the room that you can see, and you guys all have really high insight. So you get the feeling that she's kind of annoyed by this. You get the feeling that she'd like to just kind of answer things, but she's always kind of being stopped and, kind of manhandled by her entourage. But eventually, at some point, she kind of, she'll let them kind of do their thing, but then eventually at some point she kind of calms them down, and then we'll get to answering some of the questions that are being asked by her. So she will talk about Holly once. First, she will say that she only met Holly once. However, the woman had unparalleled access to her in order to design this dress. When she speaks about this, you get the feeling that she's like a little girl who is very excited about having her first big dress and going out on her first big social event or something like that. Like her eyes really kind of lit up, and it really looks like she's just very excited to finally sort of get to do that. And she wanted it to be really, really great. That's why she chose Holly. They talked a lot by vidphone and texted a lot. And she had opened up herself a lot to the designer, because the designer's approach to designing the dress was very much to get into the personality and the character of her subject, right, of her client. And so she was the one that had started coming up with all these connections to the Oracle of Delphi and all these different things. And she'll say that she really liked Holly, and felt that there was like a real connection there that was made, even though they only really met once. They were exchanging so much. She said that at some point through some of their discussions, Holly, who had become almost kind of like a shrink to her in some ways, because she was getting a lot of personal information out of her. At some point, she revealed to Holly how lonely she was, that she was really always kind of cocooned up and sort of stored away in the corporate offices and wasn't really allowed to have much of a social life and all that. And that's when Ollie suggested that she could meet this super discreet social event planner that she knew named Lockhart, that this person could arrange any sort of social interactions or events that she might like, and was very, very discreet. And so she agreed to try it out just to see what it would be like, because she wanted to meet people. And, well, like anybody else, she was horny. She wanted to get it on. I also want to say that as you go through this, she seems quite upset at these murders. And you can all give me insight checks about this, but she definitely goes on about how sad she is that this happened, how upset she is that these people that she knew were murdered.
9 and a 3.
I got a 9 and a 1.
4 and a 7.
Right. So you all buy it. Like, she doesn't seem like she's lying. She really looks like she's super upset about Holly. She's very upset about Vitaly. And she's upset like anybody would be about somebody else, Sol Young Jin, who died. Like, she doesn't seem like she has a very personal connection to her, but she honestly seems upset about all this.
I want him to ask her about Jacob.
She says, when you ask about it, she's like, I don't know any Jacob. Maybe if you mentioned that it was another code name, she'll say it's possible he had a lot of clients who had code names like this, and she's never met any of them, and she hasn't seen any of them. As far as Vitaly, she will say that he was one of the first people that she met through Lockhart. She was very smitten by him. He was very handsome, very charming, and she'll seem kind of embarrassed by this, but she'll say that she did fall in love with him, and she really wanted him to kind of get his act together so that he could maybe, sort of get a job where she works and eventually kind of become, an official boyfriend shown to people, so on and so forth. So she had decided to kind of, try to get him squared away. She made him the promise that if he kept his nose clean for 6 months, she'd give him a bigger job and would bring him up, and eventually they could be seen together. She'll talk about how it was one of her fixers, a guy named Lennox Porter, who arranged a warehouse job for him and kept an eye on him. Again, she kind of appears very much like a young and experienced girl who was really just kind of feeling her first major crush, for this Vitaly guy, because you get the feeling that it's no longer there. She's no longer like she's grown out of it, sort of thing, but definitely at the time she was very much at that level. Last time she went to visit him, she saw evidence that he'd still been working, and that was one thing that she couldn't. She was like, we were paying him, he had money, he had a place to stay, he didn't need to do that kind of work, and it was just a personal affront to me that he did. So I gave him an ultimatum to stop completely, and that this was his last chance, and then after that is when he was murdered. But she says that she was probably already kind of past him and really was getting tired of his bullshit, basically. And yeah, so she met Lockhart through Padilla. She met Vitaly through Lockhart, and it was Padilla who suggested the name Athena for her secret ID. for Lockhart's system, because she said that's what she reminded her of, is this noble goddess of knowledge and war, and like strong like that, and her Greek ancestry and all that. So the first time you ask them to ask if she's a follower of Blake, they completely ignore you. Do you ask again, or do you let it go?
Maybe for a moment let it go, but I feel like we would probably want to ask about is there anything so that we would be having a conversation behind the scenes. So Phyllis, is there anything from the mythological connection that we could ask her about that would tie her back to the Sons of Orc? We could just ask straight out, like, what do you know of the Sons of Orc? But is there something more subtle?
In terms of her being referred to as like the Oracle of Delphi and Athena.
Yeah.
Nothing that's instantly like, I have other ideas about her, this Oracle of Delphi name. I'd like to know what she knows about Deep Echo.
Good place to start, yeah, for sure. And then that can allow us to come back to the Blake question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that Oracle of Delphi thing really quick.
Yeah.
Because per mythology, the Oracle of Delphi was like a virgin who was able to, see things and things like that. So
Through drug usage.
Yeah. So she was also very protected but coveted at the same time. And at Holly Padilla's house, the recording from when the murder was happening says, without contraries is no progression, yada, 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 all the way down to, how dare you touch her holy grace with the hands stained of the blood of others. Hands stained with the blood of others. My thought is, do you think maybe she doesn't know that she's been elevated to such a pedestal because she is so young, very much brought into, like, maybe she doesn't even know she is this, goddess to this group? Or
was she a virgin before she met Vitaly? I don't know if that's too far, but Bleak, you're muted. Is he talking to us?
He just likes to talk to himself, I think.
Are you talking to yourself?
Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. When you send those questions out to the investigators, the response you get is, "What the fuck is this shit? This is stupid. We're not gonna ask her about some fucking stupid mythology stuff. We're trying to find out who killed someone here. If you can't come up with intelligent answers, just shut up."
I want to know what she knows about Deep Echo.
What a response you'll get from the guys is, "What does that have to do with anything? She's not a drug pusher."
Doesn't matter.
Has she used it?
A lot of these people had Deep Echo in their possession. Deep Echo is being pushed on the streets by people who didn't look like they belonged on the streets.
So in the interrogation room, one of the investigators was like, "I'm sorry if this seems sort of out in left field, but we were wondering, do you know what Deep Echo is?" And she'll say, "I've heard of it somewhat. It's some sort of street drug that's going around that affects replicants, I guess, more than other things." And the investigator's like, "Yes, do you have any connections to that? Do you know anything about it?" She's like, "No,
Has
I've
she
never
used
done
it?
any drug." She's saying that I've never done any drugs myself, and it's really not,
Table talk. Wasn't Vitaly using Deep Echo at some point?
Yep.
So I would further my question by, how about you mention our little boyfriend and his usage?
The investigator in the room goes, "Sorry to belabor this point, but there was some deep echo found in the effects of Vitali. Were you aware that he was using this? She's like, I assumed that he might be using drugs, but part of the conditions that we'd set for him was that he would remain clean. He was supposed to do drug tests regularly at the warehouse. I was never made aware that he was using any sort of other drugs, and he certainly didn't use it in my presence. Then you'll get a note from the investigator going, okay, happy now? Can I move on to like actual real important questions about this thing?
I want to know if she had maybe a lean towards replicants when she asked for Lockhart to find her someone. Was this in her preference sheet?
You'll ask that question and she'll say, I didn't specify at first. I mean, I was curious about replicants and if it was true that they were really as close to us as and it was just perhaps a little exotic, but I didn't necessarily request that, and I don't think that it played any role in my interest in Vitali, personally. You guys can make inside checks if you want, if you want to see if she's
100%.
I'm also table talk. I'm also kind of curious to ask her if she, like the whole replicant envy thing, I think is on my mind for some reason. I'm getting a vibe, and I'm wondering if she has ever grafted replicant material, or if she, I don't even know how we would ask that, but table talk. I wanted to just throw that out there as a possible question.
I got a 10 and a 6 on my roll.
Double eights.
all right. You don't get a sense that she's lying about that. Like you don't get a feeling that there really was some specific interest in hooking up with replicants. She's not lying about the fact that there was an interest there, but not one that guided her choices, and it was kind of happenstance that Vitali ended up being one.
Keeping on the theme.
Go ahead.
Keeping on the theme of replicants, I'd like to know her position on Blake, our walking man.
The investigator's like, oh, what the fuck? Now we're dealing with video games?
I didn't ask you to ask me questions. I asked you to ask her a question.
She's gonna start thinking we're fucking idiots down here, and she's gonna stop her.
I don't care what she thinks.
They're just gonna leave. You don't know these people like we do. You have to be careful with them. You ask them one too many stupid questions, and they blow their top. They don't have time for this shit.
It's a simple question.
God damn it. And then I'm sorry, Miss Lambros, for once again asking you a question that seems highly irrelevant, but if you'd indulge me for a minute, some members of our team would like to know if you have knowledge of the online phenomena called Blake, or if you yourself, I guess, participate in the whatever it is, the game that involves this character. She's like, well, I'm aware of it like anybody else. I think a lot of people connect with Blake through the mood organ, which one of our subsidiaries makes. I myself have never connected with Blake. I'm only aware of it sort of peripherally. I'm not even sure what this has to do with any of it. And she's checking with lawyers, and the lawyers are like, what does this have to do with anything here? Next thing you're going to ask her if she believes in Santa Claus. What's going on? Are any of you
I've got a 9 and a 5 observation. I don't want to look at her. I want to see how the rest of the team is reacting while Phyllis and Twitch are kind of like focusing on young lady here. I want to look at the others because I'm curious to see how these questions and topics of interest are coming across or are hitting the keys on the keyboard for some people with more seasoning than she has.
You're not picking up anything that really draws your attention. The lawyers are being lawyers. The other three people, the specialists, are sitting in the back, and whenever there's a question that touches on one of their fields, they'll lean in and whisper some stuff. None of them seem, they're corporate drones, really, for the most part. None of them seem to be particularly or specifically interested, in this on a personal level. They're all just here doing their job, basically. You get the feeling.
I would like to say in response to what you asked, Phyllis is going to say, he seems to be a hero to the replicants, and the replicants are being targeted now, so that's the only reason I ask.
So he'll reply that to her, and she'll say, I don't know about... Look, the reason why I agreed to come down here was because I felt that perhaps these murders were a message being sent to me. The three people that were murdered were people that I was connected to in some way, and the level of connection seemed to be growing with every murder. The first one was just a murder. The second one was a coincidence. But by the time Vitaly was murdered, I started to wonder what was going on. And to be honest, I had sort of hoped that you here would be able to bring a little bit of clarity for me. It seems to me that someone is trying to send me a message through this by killing these replicants that are connected to me and getting ever closer to me. The first person was someone I never met, but the last person killed was someone I was very intimate with.
Have you been threatened before? Who do you think is trying to send you this message?
Does she have any enemies?
My enemies are anyone who stands to lose money from me.
For example,
Changing the game as far as the replicants go. It's most people were surprised that are revealed this morning, but of course, other companies with their corporate spying programs would certainly have known that we were developing a much more advanced replicant than what's been marketed so far.
What would these companies stand to gain by murdering people close to you?
I'm someone who's very difficult to reach. Felt like someone was telling me that these murders would continue unless I altered my course. That they would just keep. It's really out of my hands. I may be the CEO, but there's a board and there are shareholders, and those people really don't care about a few replicants getting murdered in the city, regardless of whatever connection they might have to me.
She looks young. How does a girl like her come to own a company like Dawnstar?
The lawyers sort of all kind of gather around, and one of the lawyers leans in. Miss Lambros built Dawnstar herself through a very generous inheritance that she received upon the death of her parents. The rest is matter of public record. As a publicly traded company, you could feel free to look it up anytime you want.
I see. What about the man here with her? Has he always worked with Dawnstar?
One of the lawyers leans in and goes, I don't believe that any of our employees are currently persons of interest, aside from Miss Lambros, of course, who is not an employee in this matter. And so we will not be answering that question.
What are we missing here?
Did anyone roll their insight when she was talking about Blake? By the way, I asked for insight rolls. But
6 and a 1.
Oh, I feel like I answered that. Oh, roll again. It was a 10 and a 6.
She was definitely holding back when she talked about it.
She's holding back about Blake. You
Yeah.
can see it on her face. She has something more to say. I need you to put the pressure on her.
As you guys are thinking about this, she's going on. I mean, as far as who might have an interest in our business faltering, I mean, you have to look no further than the person who built this wonderful new headquarters for you. I'm sure he's quite happy that the people he houses have taken the time to bring me in for questioning on the day of my first appearance in public and on the day of my announcing our new replicants. I'm sure that all of this is entirely coincidental, and as are the threats and messages being leveled at me.
Is it? God, I don't even know if this is this might be a really dumb move, but can we like get that photograph in front of her of the murderer and just get a reaction from her? Like, she may not answer anything, but she might, like, do I need to bust in there with the photograph and like slam it down on the table? And
they
like,
would have that. They would have all your information, so you could start by asking them to show them to her.
I think I would push that. There's like, show the photo and like, let's get a reaction out of her. All
right.
Do you know this man?
One of the guys will do just that. They'll pull out a photo. What about this person? Have you ever encountered this person before? And she leans down and looks at it. Can I have your insight checks?
Have him put the picture of Vitaly from the apartment.
7 and an 8.
6 and a 7.
I got a 6 and a 5 for mine.
Okay. So she leans in and looks at it and goes, "No, I can't say that this person is familiar to me at all." And she's super cool about it. You don't feel that, you don't pick up anything about it. You don't think that she's lying.
Table talk. Swain, do I know who he worked for, since he is someone of my past?
He used to work for Wallace. So if you remember, when you encountered him, you wanted out.
Right. Yeah. Now, I was looking at my notes and I didn't have like who he worked for, and I figured she would probably know that. And when we know his name, right, from them coming in, I would assume we would know his name.
Yeah.
Of course you wouldn't, Dave.
It's a Phyllis thing.
Yep.
Yeah, Phyllis is gonna ask, wow, how about you ask her about Swain and his past? I want to know why someone from Wallace is working on her team, though Wallace could be out to get her.
How is that? Is that relevant? They've already said that they won't be answering questions about the other members of the entourage.
I want to see her sweat a little.
Is Swain in the room with them?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
He's the bioengineer.
Oh.
And if I may, what about the fact that Mr. Swain here is a former employee of Wallace Corp? Do you think that his defection to your company might have anything to do with these threats you say you've been receiving? And she kind of looks over at some of the lawyers, and the lawyers kind of all get their heads together, and Swain sort of leans in also, and they sort of talk a little bit about it. And then one of the lawyers reaches out, is Mr. Swain a person of interest in these proceedings? And the investigator's like, well, we won't know until we find out, if he is or not, right?
I'd say he is now.
If you had just answered a question, I think you're the one who brought Wallace Corp into this to begin with. So, and she'll lean in and say, Mr. Swain's, I have absolutely no concerns regarding Mr. Swain's loyalty to Dawnstar Biosynth. Mr. Swain is a highly sought after bioengineer. He accepted a contract offer from us and now works for us. I would assume that if Mr. Wallace meant to send corporate spies to us, he would send someone that would hurt him less to lose than Mr. Swain, who is one of the top in his field. I have no reason to believe that Wallace would have a problem with this. I'm assuming that if he did, he would be threatening Mr. Swain rather than me.
I want to know what her interest is in, the Nexus and creating her own. Like, what sparked her to want something different than already existed?
My feeling is that the replicants that Wallace is creating are still created functionally as slaves. They are not meant to be created as full-fledged individuals. They're still created with restrictions in place and are still created as beings intended to serve their masters and those who created them. I wish to create a new form of life that is in all way, shape, or form, not just physically and mentally and socially, but also in spirit and in social status, the equal to human beings. It is clear that human beings are fleeing this planet. It is clear that human beings find it difficult to live here. Then perhaps if the human beings will not want this planet, then somebody else might, and somebody else might be able to turn it into a place we're living in again.
I'm going to look at Phyllis and Twitch. Sound a little fanatical?
I was just going to ask.
Bit.
Yeah, does any of the specific words that she drops mimic the language we've seen from Sons of Orc or the teachings of Blake or anything like that?
Honestly, no. I mean, it's got kind of a grandioseness to it the same way, but none of it's very similar. She'll say, you were asking me about Blake earlier. I must admit that I dissembled somewhat when you asked me about him. I said I never used myself a connection to Blake. However, my company is the one who created Blake. I've long felt that our path forward should be the wish to make this place better, not flee it. This is the soil, the land that we must inhabit. We are better served by accepting it and using our minds to turn it into a palace rather than a cell. But for that, people need hope, you see. They need a clear indication that the more we work together, the easier the burden can be to carry. We created Blake as a focal point for people to teach them this and bring them together and share the burden that we might at length make a heaven of our hell. Our designers modeled him on old images of the Christian God, an old man with a white beard. But we wanted him to appear vigorous and strong, not weak and feeble, so we modeled him on ancient Greek statues of heroes and gods for the body proportions and the musculature. It's really just meant to instill hope in people and a sense of shared duty, and I think it's working.
Ask her about the snake on his back. Why the snake?
He does not have a snake on his back.
He doesn't? Oh, I thought you... okay, I thought when we looked through the thing at Tomoe's, he did.
No, he doesn't. Blake doesn't. The killer does.
Okay, but they look identical.
Yeah, basically they look identical.
Okay.
Or at least very similar. I don't know exactly what Blake has to do with any of this, but he's a symbol of hope, not...
Just ask her outright about the Sons of Orc.
He will, and she'll say, all I know is the same thing you know, that They are active and militaristic and very violent, and have been giving replicants a bad name.
Does she know that one of their people looks identical to Blake? Does she think maybe her message could have gone farther than intended? Or is it doing exactly what she wanted it to do the whole time?
She starts to answer, and one of the lawyers cuts in and goes, Dawnstar Biosin accept no responsibility for individuals and how they choose to view the product that we provide. If there's someone out there who, perhaps through mental illness or something of that effect, misconstrues the object of our creations, then Dawnstar Biosynth cannot be held legally responsible for this, and we will vigorously oppose any such mention as libel and take appropriate steps in the judicial system.
This is when Twitch is like, this is fucking bullshit. And he fucking slams his hand down on the table. And he gets, we're not going to get anything out of these fucking lawyers. And he storms out of the room.
You hear Phyllis and Sark, you hear in your ears. Anything else? I think we're pretty much done here. Anything else you want to ask?
Oh no, you fucks have been perfect. Thank you. Appreciate you. Good job. You've done a great job today.
Hey. You're talking to a superior officer here.
Oh, my apologies.
We're a bunch of dicks.
That was laden with sarcasm, by the way.
So they start picking up their stuff and are getting ready to leave. What are you guys doing?
Phyllis is gonna move out of the room and into the main room where this group of people are going to walk by, because she definitely wants Swain to see her.
As they go by, so give me an insight check, and Sark, if you're there, you can insight also. I don't know if you come out and scope the scene or not, but it's up to you.
6 and a 2.
I got an 8 and a 4.
When they come out, you see they come out, and several members of the group kind of just look at you since you're standing there and whatnot. When Aster sees Phyllis, she clearly has a moment of recognition where she kind of regains control pretty quickly, but she definitely reacts to seeing Phyllis. And as they're walking out, Swain does not at all look like, he doesn't have any reaction except that he looks at you, and you know he recognizes you. He's just fucking ice. He's just like, and he stares at you just that extra moment longer that you know he knows it's you, but he has zero reaction otherwise. Do you do anything else?
Does she walk close enough to me to for me to be able to say something to her without
Sure.
yelling?
I mean, there's bodyguards and other people around, but she would come by. You could easily get to within 10-ish feet of her or something like that.
And they don't know we were the ones asking questions.
No, not really.
So as she walks by and I notice her kind of being briefly taken aback by me, I'm just kind of gonna do one of those, you look familiar. I've seen you before.
Probably on the trid this morning.
No,
Video of me.
I don't watch the news. It's not my taste. A little too depressing.
She sort of doesn't. She looks like she's not, really not interested in getting in it with you. As soon as she you say that, and she goes, and turns her attention to one of her lawyers who's saying something. Nothing else? So they walk out. I get back into the elevator right upstairs. Where did Twitch go?
I think. Oh God. Twitch is in the elevator. If that's possible.
Sure. They're not gonna walk in there with you though. I just want to be honest about if the elevator doors open and you're in there, the bodyguards are going to, either ask you to step out or say they'll wait for the next one or something like that. They're not going to go in with someone they don't know. Just to be honest with you about how they're going to react.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
they're not going to jump you or anything, but
no. So what I kind of envision is like as they're getting into the elevator, he'd be kind of like coming up to the elevator as well, but he'll kind of like be like, oh, whoa, hey, pardon me.
Yeah, one of the bodyguards will move up and say, just one moment, please.
Yeah. Far be it from me to infringe on the creator of possibly one of the worst messiahs in the history of humankind. Blake, right?
And she completely ignores you. And one of the lawyers that's coming up behind is like, if you're a member of this department, I would remind you that you are here to protect and serve and not heckle clients, especially people who, like my client, are innocent.
It's time for you to leave, right?
So he'll kind of shoot you a dirty look and go away. Then the bodyguard is confirms like, take it easy, pal. We're all friends here. And catch the next one, all right?
Yeah, of course, friend.
So they'll pile into the elevator. They throw a grenade in before they...
No, he basically he wanted to see if he could get a reaction out of her, but it doesn't sound like he got one.
No, she was very kind of after the to explain after the encounter with Phyllis, she's a little kind of so she's been just kind of get the fuck out of here kind of thing.
Sure.
So she'll get in the elevator and they will ride up back up to the top. And you're all left standing there. The captain comes over. She goes, anything you can work with from that little performance?
Not really, no.
Yeah, to be honest, Stella, I don't know what we got.
I think we need to think about things. Maybe put our heads together a little bit, talk about the information we received, even though it was little and scarce. I do find it funny that Wallace is working with her. At least someone from Wallace, not the man himself.
Yeah. She knows how to dance around the questions.
The captain will say, you seem like you knew about Swain. Do you have anything you want to share with the rest of us, or?
No, I've only seen him before. I knew of his position in Wallace. That's about it. Nothing too much deeper than that. I will say she is...
Sorry?
Yeah.
I would like to do an insight on Phyllis when she said she's only just knew he worked at Wallace.
All right, go for it.
I got a 10 and an 8.
Phyllis, if you're trying to sort of dissimulate, you can do a manipulation check.
Yeah, for sure. I got a 10 and a 2.
Right, so she has 2. She has 3 successes. You have 2, because the 10 counts as 2 successes. So if you're dissembling or lying or hiding anything, you should tell her.
Yeah, you definitely get the sense that Phyllis knows a little more than what she's offering up to the captain, for sure. Yeah.
I will give you a look I'll make eye contact with you because I know you're super observant of people's reaction to you talk. So I will give you a look that says, hey, I know, and we're going to talk about this later.
I just kind of give you like a very like sly nod. I will say it's a bit striking to see someone so young doing something so big and so important. I think there's something more there. Do we know anything about her parents?
I personally don't. She only arrived in LA not too long ago. Her parents were old European money. It's as much as I know. I mean, I'm sure a lot of it's public records. You can look into that.
I was going to say the public records she mentioned, something we should definitely look into.
How about you all get your heads together then and think about this, and then when you have something actionable, come and tell me, because right now I don't see our murderer in handcuffs anywhere. And that is your number one priority, not finding out who Esther Lambros's parents are, how she got her money, what she really, like, none of this is germane. The investigation is about finding out who killed Vitaly, Jin, and Holly Padilla. So I would like you to refocus on that. Give me some actionable evidence, make an arrest in that case before we get another murder. That is your focus. Ignore Esther Lambros for now. Whatever her deal is, it's probably way above all our pay grades.
Well, it sounds like the three of us need to put our heads together. Let's go have a chat, perhaps.
Yeah, we're on it, Estelle. Look, we need to fucking find out where where Fadir is.
Omar? Who's Omar?
Second time you bring up this Omar fella.
Yeah. We need to figure out where Fadir is, and quick.
Almost as if he has summoned your KIA rings again, Sark. This time it's a message, like a text message that's been sent to you, and it's from Fadir saying, Sark, there's some shit going on. I can't understand it. It's fucking with my mind. I think I'm gonna need you to watch my back. I'm gonna do something maybe a little crazy. Can you come down and meet me? Stardust Motel, and gives you the address. Don't bring a whole horde of cops down here. The situation demands a little bit of what's the word? Stealth. And then that's the message.
I won't read it out loud. I'll just read it to myself.
So what do you
do? I actually have, I would like to leave Phyllis and Twitch, and I want to go to my apartment because I want to look through my clothes in my apartment because I know my hiding spots, and I want to see if I have any Sons of Orc, anything tucked away, since they still think that I'm operating with them, and I was until I got blown up. And then I would like to change out of my cop clothes before going down to help Fadir.
Okay, not a problem. When you go home, you'll look at all your hiding spots, and you'll find nothing there. Then your mind will go to the fact that this apartment was provided to you or was paid for by the city, and that very likely they would have cleared it out of anything because they didn't want you to remember that you had a connection to them, right?
Fair. And I'm going to take the deep echo before I go find Fadir.
You like drop it?
Yeah.
You guys want to get fucked up and do some fucked up shit?
I mean, yeah.
All right. You drop the deep echo. Let me make a note of that.
Oh my God.
Gonna
Sark,
hit
you're already
just the right
scrambled
time.
as it is.
I love it.
Don't
What
do
a
drugs,
gal.
kids.
It's gonna hit at just the right time.
Or
Phyllis,
fuck around and find out.
what
Yes.
will you be doing?
Well, I'm gonna pull Twitch aside. Is there somewhere like private I can take him in the department to talk
Oh
to
yeah,
him?
look, there's a bathroom right there.
Ooh.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, so I pull Twitch aside. I'm
Lock the door behind you.
yeah, I check all the stalls, lock the door, the whole nine. I am just like beyond paranoid at this point. I turn to Twitch. Astra knew me. She knew my face. When she saw me, when she walked out of that room, gave her a little start. Now I've already told you that there's others of me out there, which gives me cause to believe that Wallace has been paying her a visit. Swain, I know him. I don't know why he's still up to his old tricks. I thought I fixed that a while ago, but here he is.
Fixed it how?
We had a little agreement between the two of us. But now he's here, right back in his old position, just a new company. You see, he was a biotech for Wallace quite a few years back. He worked on programming, the mind. He said he worked in projects, illegal projects, things he felt were immoral. A word up until that point I had never heard before. You could say, he's the reason I am what I am today. But I'm no longer Morningstar.
You think he's potentially still involved with these other yous?
Other use, I like that.
I don't know if he ever met the other me's, to be honest. I was sent to kill him.
But you didn't.
I didn't. Because for the first time in my life, I felt that I was doing something wrong. Immoral. I just don't know why he went back. What brought him back to doing what he was doing? Agent Cooper, get fucked. God damn it. Doesn't make sense.
Power, money.
He's a coward. Perhaps Wallace put him up to this. Maybe scared it back into him.
Manipulation. I mean, I'll be damned if we're not all being manipulated at this point.
Yeah, I knew he wanted to get out of what he was involved in. I helped him, and just don't see why he would be back other than someone forcing him. It's true, he's good at what he does. Real good.
I can tell you, you're skeptical of this Landros and her position.
Something tells me she's a puppet.
Yeah, I'm
the
getting that vibe.
Oracle of Delphi.
I don't know much
A
about
puppet.
mythology, but I'm getting that vibe too.
Something in me tells me that maybe she's not even human. Maybe there's someone else, someone bigger behind all this. Perhaps this Jacob character? I'm not sure, but I don't know. No Oracle was ever in control. They were just a vessel. I think she's just some sort of vessel.
A tool.
Yeah. I don't even think she knows what she's doing. How could she? All of her responses, they seemed
Too perfect.
too innocent.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me sad, Thomas. I know what it's like to feel like that. To not know, to just act and do. No morals, no thoughts, no emotions. I don't know. It's like looking at her was like looking into a window of time back to someone who I used to be. It's just a hunch, but a strong one.
And how do we track it down? She seems untouchable. This entourage of hers, the security, the strings that are being pulled, the pressure on us to go a different direction.
That visitor I had, the one I told you about, the one that looked like me. I don't know, but I could go home and wait for her to come back again. I feel like she's real curious. That's how it starts, you know? That's how it started with me, curiosity. Wanting to know more. I'd like to think that I'm right. I'd like to hope that I'm right, that maybe something has awoken in her and maybe she wants to stray a little from Daddy.
You
But
think she'd help us? Possibly.
maybe. If I could find a way to reach out to her, to talk to her, to find her. Just maybe. I know she wants to be on her own. I know she craves independence. After a while, everybody gets tired of being under someone's thumb.
No question. She's also very dangerous to all of us, but you in particular.
I'll deal with what comes.
I know you will, Phyllis.
Thank you, Thomas.
Of course. Yeah, of course. Do you need anything? I mean...
I think I need to go home. There's someone there I need to check on. Maybe there will be someone else there waiting for me again. Who knows? But I feel like I need to do it alone. I wouldn't want to drag you in a position like that because if I barely stand a chance, then you certainly don't. And I couldn't live with that. I couldn't live with another face in my thoughts as I lay down at night. I'll call you if anything happens.
Yeah, you do that right away.
She's gonna lean in and steal that kiss that got interrupted.
Just as you lean in and give him that.
Son of a bitch.
There's a knock at the door.
Come on!
Hey, I need the bathroom. What are you guys doing in there? Just as you're like, just each other's breath mingling.
Oh my god.
Come on, I need the John. What are you doing? What
Just
is
let
this?
it happen already.
She sighs and just says, "No privacy anywhere we go," and just kind of chuckles and turns and walks out.
I'm gonna
Jesus,
I'm
what are
gonna
you two
pistol
doing
whip
in
this fucking guy. I'm pistol whipping him.
You're in the women's John, and there's a woman there, and when you come out, when she's like, "The hell are you doing in there?"
Don't ask.
You know, next floor up, they have like, you know.
He just walks past, head down. She's chewing him out. I think Twitch.
Have
I think at this.
genderless bathrooms upstairs.
I think at this point, Twitch would go home to gather a few things, maybe change of clothes, shower, whatever, probably a cold shower, and then he would. I think he would stake out Phyllis's place, but he's gonna go home first.
Okay, so as you will head out to your house, get change, shower up, whatnot. And while that's going on, Phyllis, when you get home, okay, right now, Sark's tripping balls, and we'll get to that next game. That deserves.
I love this.
More than a few minutes.
I love this for Sark.
But Phyllis, when you get home, as you park your car and are about to go in, there's a message that pings on your KIA,
Mm-hmm.
and it just says, check the news. And when you turn it on, you catch the tail end of a report that says that noted bioengineer Aidan Swain was murdered tonight in his home. His face apparently pummeled in with some sort of blunt force instrument. There are videos of the incident, and there is blood on the walls, letters written on the wall that says, "What matter where, if I still be the same, and what I should be, all but less than he whom thunder had made greater. Here at least I shall be free. The Father hath not built here for his envy, will not drive me hence. Here I may reign secure, and in my choice to reign is worth ambition, though in hell. Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven." And then as you're watching that video feed, another message comes in on the KIA. And the message says, "Father has a task for you. Do what you do best, sister." And then you see a quick video that shows someone bashing Aidan's face in. And then when that person gets up, they look at the camera and it's your face. And the rest of the message says, "Do what you do best, sister. Kill Aster Lambros. If you do, Father will once again open the gates of heaven for you." And as you're taking that in, Twitch, you come out of your apartment about to head over to Phyllis's house, and you hear someone say, "Hey, Twitch, what's up, man?" When you turn, you see a cop that you know, one of the younger guys that you know from around. Is coming up to you. He's like, "Hey, you work in the..." And as he says that, you feel someone coming up behind you.
Hand on pistol.
A hand comes in and grabs your arm, slams it against your body. There's a bag that's put over your head as a bunch of hands grab you and start hauling you away. And you hear a car or a truck sort of pull up, break in. You hear a door open, and then three massive dudes are just grabbing you, roll you into this van. One of them removes your gun from you. And in the back of the van, as you go in, you hear, "How about we take care of this the old way, Twitch?" And then as you're struggling, these guys just start laying a fucking beating on you in the back of this van as the van door slams shut and starts peeling off.
Do I have a chance to say anything while they're pummeling me?
Sure, go for it.
"Thanks for the raid, Lord Gazumba! God damn it!"
Zumba walking in just as you're getting the shit kicked out of you, and these guys work you solid. They are young, healthy, in shape, and they know how to fuck shit up. And on that note, just as the Lord Gazumba,
oh my god,
and his hordes walk in on us, we will stop here. Come back.
No, my boyfriend. We never even got to kiss.
God damn it.
Tune in next week when we ask the question, will Twitch and Phyllis ever lock lips?
God damn it, Bleak.
Will Sark Ratcher trip balls?
Oh my God. You guys, seriously, this is TVMA.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for.
I have no idea what's going on anymore.
That was amazing. God damn it, Bleak.
Thanks for the raid, everybody. You got here just as we're wrapping up, but thank you so much for joining. We appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. It's been Blade Runner, the 6th episode of The Fires of Orc. Phyllis's doppelganger is just assassinated a noted bioengineer. Twitch has just been kidnapped and beaten in the back of a truck. And Sark Ratcher is about to go trip balls at some motel in the middle of the desert.
Where's Fadir? That's the real question.
Who knows?
At the hotel I'm about to roll up tripping on.
All I will say is Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, I can't wait.
What's up with that? Thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out with us. Thank you so much to my awesome players. I could see you there when that interrogation with Astor Lambros was going on. You were like, fuck, like, where's that reveal that we need? And I was like, you just gotta go through it.
We didn't get there.
This is not the moment, but
just dangling that carrot in front of us.
That's right. This thing's about to blow wide open. But great job. Anyways, you're so amazing. Let's go around again. Introduce yourselves. Tell us what's up. First, the person who is tripping balls. Sark Ratcher. How you doing, Holy?
What's up is down and what's down is up. And that door is really small and I'm really big. And I don't know how I'm going to get through it, but I'll figure it out. Hopefully there's cookies.
Or something.
Drink me.
Hopefully there's cotton candy. That would
there
we go.
That would be great.
You certainly deserve at least a cookie. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for rolling with the punches when it comes to Sark. And it was a lot for someone to take for the character, but you did it with brilliance and with poise. So thank you very, very much. Speaking of brilliance and poise, now you're wondering who I'm going to go to.
No, we know who you're going to. We know who you're going to.
This guy?
That guy
this
right
old
there.
creep?
How you doing, Creepsville? Everyone knows tell us about yourself anyways.
I one of these days I'm going to get to smooch someone in a game. Jesus Christ.
That was the most TTRPG cock blocking I've ever seen. God damn it.
I'm excited. Holy shit. Now I'm getting blackmailed. Whoa. So much is happening in this game. Very exciting and very stressful. And I'm extremely sweaty. And that's why they call me your resident creep on Twitch. Sweaty guy. Thanks again for having me. This game has been so cool, so much fun, so much lore, and so much shit to keep track of, and I love it. I just gobble it up. Very exciting. Thanks, Rad. I am always sweaty. It happens. Whatever. I was born this way. Or maybe it's Maybelline. Probably not.
Who knows?
But yeah, come check me out. I'm Darling Creepshow all across the internet, and I will be streaming tonight in about an hour, starting at 10. I'll be painting some more miniatures tonight. I'm actually going to be working on a cool little jammer from Christine Van Patten. Sent me some of her miniatures. So I'm pretty excited to start on a little tiki lunette, which is very on theme since we've been watching the 66 Adam West Batman.
Nice.
Let's keep with the 60s theme. So yeah, I hope to see some of you guys there tonight.
Nice. Thank you so much, Creep. As always.
Thank you.
Absolutely wonderful. Having you in my games. Love the character. Everything has been absolutely awesome. And I can't wait to see how it gets resolved because I have no clue,
Oh, yeah.
Just throw stuff out there and then I see what people do. Speaking of just throwing stuff out there, DM Dave, Uncle Dave.
Oh, hi everybody. My name is Dave. I play games, produce games, and run games here on Guild Superior, and just absolutely thrilled to be a part of this Blade Runner game and being privy to all this awesome role play and intrigue and investigation. I'm glad that we can roll dice to see if our characters understand what's going on, because Dave here does not have the capability to understand all of the nuances, but super fun, really enjoying it. I love playing with this table. Yeah, we've got a bunch of really good stuff that I need to mention that's going on here on Guild Superior. We have on Monday night, our Monday Night Mayhem. We're jumping into episode 2 of our Monsters Hunting, which will be the wrap up of that short shot tomorrow. Is tomorrow Monday? Tomorrow night. Holy cats. And then on Tuesday, we jump back into Heroes of Greyhawk, where we are dancing around some missions outside of Hamlet with adjacent to some locations that a lot of the Lord Gazumba folks would probably be able to guess at. Wink, wink. And then on Thursday, we're back to our Shade Song with a brand new arc in the saga. Well, tell us a little bit about that real quick, Bleak.
It is part 3 of the 5-part in the Shadow Appeal Companion finale of the season 1 of Shade Song. This one's called First Cut Deepest, and will feature another plethora of awesome players with MJ Russell coming back to play, as well as Nathan from Reckless Attack, a host of other people. It's going to be an awesome one.
Yep, as per usual. Thanks for bringing that to the channel. And if you want to get involved in some of the stuff that we're doing, hop on over to our Discord and join us and hang out with us. And you never know, you might end up in one of these games with us, because that's what we do, is we get to know you and then we recruit you to play games with us. That's just how it works. Thank you so much for being here. Handing it back to you, Bleak. We're going to get ready to, actually, I'll tell you this, we're going to get ready to raid the ladies of D&D.
The lady of D&D.
Thanks, Uncle Dave.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Uncle Dave. He might be your uncle, but he's still your daddy.
That's right.
I think he still is his daddy.
He would like to be.
Okay.
I think it's more like Phyllis
just let it happen. Yeah, that's true. Actually, my mommy. Hello, mommy.
I'm sorry.
Hey, look.
I guarantee you that by session 10, I'll let you kiss.
Oh, thanks.
Deal.
I am the Bleakseason on the Twitters, as well as bleakseason.com, my website where I detail all my good stuffs about Shadesong. Super happy to be here. This game has been absolutely fantastic. Will definitely go down in my history as one of my favorite games that I've ever run, and favorite players that I've ever had in it. So super amazing. I can't wait for 2 weeks from now. Thank you so much for hanging out, watching with us. And Dave,
let's get this raid going.
Hang out.
Let's do it.
Give our raid targets, ladies of D&D, some love, some raid action. Thank you for hanging out.